Welcome back as we continue our focus on the health and wellness, the overall well-being of our little ones. And I think the greatest gift in life is helping others overcome their pain in whatever form that manifests. And as a parent, there is nothing more rewarding than being able to help your children to get into top health again. And here to continue our discussion about our children's health and wellness are a brilliant panel of experts. Our pediatrician, Dr. Anisa Vahed, pediatric dietitian and very good old friend, Kath McGaw, and registered counsellor and very much a part of the Expresso family, Kumo Apane. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I love these conversations. Kath, I love the fact you're like raring to go, yes, because you've been a part of the vetting process for a lot of what goes on in this space. So I love that your voice is being added. But maybe, Kumo, I can start with you with a mental element of this, because sickness is often beaten by yourself.
Yes.
You just need to get to a place where you feel strong enough to be able to do it. How does effective medication and treatment help with the mental aspect of our kids getting sick?
I mean, you know, children experience pain symptoms very differently, right? So it can be dependent on their age, their development, and their personality and the environment that they're growing up in. We know that, you know, when you experience pain, the body sends a stress response, right? And that puts the body on defense mode, which then lessens, you know, the building of new tissues as well as recovery. And so medication really helps to aid that recovery, and it helps to bring the child into better fitness, you know, physical fitness and mental fitness. But with mental strength in particular, I think it's dependent on and often linked to the type of medication that's given to the child, right? So what condition is it being treated on, and whether the medication alone is the only factor that monitors measuring mental strength, because there could be different things that are linked to that and that can contribute to that. But I think the overall mental well-being of a child is dependent on, you know, we have treatments that are synthetically manufactured, we have your natural herbs or supplements. So those are all the factors that contribute to the strengthening of the mental fitness of an individual. And I think it's important for parents to know how to identify how that affects children, because that's different from adults.
Oh,
right?
completely, yeah. And if you look at the tip of the spear when it comes to medicine, all the big heavy hitters, we know that it starts in the mind. That's when the body starts doing miraculous things. We forget about the lowest rung in that ladder. In your work, how much of a difference does it make when a child's perception, the mental element, starts to shift?
Well, I mean, with what I see is monkey see, monkey do. So if mommy is stressing and daddy's stressing, then the kids are starting to mimic it. So this is where we're trying to find the balance of, is it a real pain? Are we trying to actually try and say, mommy, I'm actually looking for a bit more attention.
I just don't want to go to school.
I don't want to go to school. Maybe there's some bullying going on. Or is it actually something physiological that's going on that's starting a proper fever? And it's that balance. And I always tell parents, you know your child the best.
For sure.
Your mommy gut will tell you something's not right, and we will figure it out. And obviously, if you're giving something like paracetamol and there's no obvious fevers and it's not really working, then we got to look at something, whether it is something psychological that's actually happening.
Yeah, it's a tough job. It's a tough gig being a parent. I get that. It's an equally tough job bringing out a product that delivers on the promise of being additive-free. Kath.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, we've sold our souls so many times over the years. I think I represent a consumer culture that has done us a dirty in the past, that has shifted dramatically in this space. How big is this, being able to offer treatment that works effectively like this, that is additive-free? Why is this such a big thing?
It's huge, because I think there's been such an increase in allergies over the years, and we don't actually realize how much additives contribute to allergic reactions and stomach issues. And a lot of kids don't tolerate medication, and that causes other symptoms because it's full of additives and sugars and things like that. And there was this kind of culture over the years that for kids' medication, we have to just load it with all the nasties, and that's not necessary. We want to help them feel better, as we've been discussing, but we don't need to add insult to injury and give them a whole lot of nasties with that.
How about a lifetime addiction to sugar? Can we just start with that, which I'm realizing in my ripe old age has been complementary to so many of the negative impacts. when we do a comparison, when we look at the side effects potentially of things like tartrazine, of too much sugar,
Yes.
in the long run, how damaging can that be?
So it's quite tricky, especially looking at the research. And I think as things are going on, we're starting to find what's what's really happening. But it is putting them at an increased risk of having high blood pressure and diabetes later on in life. But we're already finding, I mean, because kids get frequently sick, if we're giving them a lot of sugar-loaded medications, we're finding actually by the time they're 3 and 4, their milk teeth we've got to extract because there's so much dental cavities. And it's become a new thing now in the last few months where I've just seen an increased amount of dental cavities, a lot of kind of almost not really malnutrition, but their vitamin deficiencies are quite bad because they're always getting loaded with these things and it pushes them back. It's a big issue.
And it also speaks to the mental aspect of being able to say you can strengthen yourself in the right way.
Yeah.
We're not going to just give you a dopamine surge every time that you are unhappy. For the mental long game, Kuma, why is that so important that we can get an understanding of that? Because it will set in at that early age.
Yeah, no, for sure. As she's mentioned psychosomatic issues that we see in children quite a lot, where there is stress or anxiety and it manifests itself physically, right? And so I think it's important to help children with how to regulate their emotions often, right? So do I create a safe environment for them to let me know how they're feeling, where it hurts, and whether or not medication is something that is needed for that. But I think the expression and the language conversation needs to be added to helping them regulate their emotions as well. So I think the space that you create for children, as well as, you know, it's okay if you're not feeling okay, right? Because sometimes children can withhold showing and expressing what they're feeling, firstly because they don't know how to do that effectively. And so the parent can be equipped with how to monitor and how to identify some of these symptoms. But I think it's the conversational piece, right, that can really help children these days.
I'm just thinking of the amount of times I've had this conversation with my kid of like, Dad, my tummy's sore. Okay, why don't you want to go to school today? And it's universal, and I'm getting it. It's starting to sink in. Thank you so much. Some invaluable advice in approaching the wellness of your child. If they are strong, they will bounce back quicker, and that's mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I think the number one rule of parenting is always being open to learning, because the journey is absolutely, and I say that, absolutely different for everybody, every parent and every child. And having a reliable medication on that journey, I can speak from my own experience, makes the ride a little bit smoother at least. And PANADO is giving you the chance to make it even smoother, at least 3 of you, the opportunity to win yourself 2,000 Rand. And of course, hashtag the power to fight pain. And here is how you enter.
New PANADO Grape gives you the power to fight their pain in a great new taste that's free from tartrazine, colorants, sugar and alcohol. This 29th February to the 1st of March, celebrate the launch of the new addition to the PANADO family and stand a chance to win a cash prize of 2,000 Rand. Answer the questions in the PANADO post on Expresso's social media pages using hashtag PANADOSA and hashtag Power to Fight Pain. T's and C's apply. PANADO Grape, a clear choice in fast pain and fever relief.